Gamers are always looking to get an upper hand, and KontrolFreek's line of joystick extensions aim to give you an edge by applying science to your controller. By extending the length of the joystick, you gain a larger range of motion, and this should allow you to move quicker and more precisely, all while reducing finger strain. It all sounds pretty impressive, but does it work? Let's take a look.
Come in a variety of different flavors, if you will. The legendary one, they have the Hoops Freek, the TD Freek, and there's also the Gamer Pack, which comes with the regular FPS Freek and the Speed Freek all in one. What they do is they just snap onto your joysticks very easily like that. And it's on pretty solid. So these are supposed to work by increasing the range of motion. So you see, pop this off real quick. Whereas you can only move in a circle like that big. Once you pop these on, it does increase the range of motion, but at the same time it decreases the sensitivity, so you have to play with your sensitivity settings in the game. Your grip on the controller changes when you're using the FPS Freek, whereas you usually hold it pretty tight like this because your thumbs are pretty low. With these you have to hold it much looser to get your thumbs on top of the joysticks to get that full motion. If holding it down, it doesn't quite work the same. Since it is higher, I found it harder to click the stick. So if you're using that to run or to knife someone at a very opportune moment, it can be a little less responsive unless you're pushing downwards more, which can be a little more difficult. The FPS Freek standard ones are a little concave, much like the Xbox 360 joysticks, but the FPS Freek Legendary is more convex, much like the PS3 joysticks. I mean, personally, I like the Xbox 360 joysticks. I find my thumb slips off of them less, but I mean, if you prefer the PlayStation over the 360, you have your choice, and the FPS Freek line works with both of these. They just snap on very easily. Let's take it off of this Xbox controller. Just pop it right on to the PlayStation controller. It can be a little bit more of a jump if you're using the FPS Freek to jump from the joystick to the A button if you have to jump and then move your thumb back to the control stick. It can take a little bit getting used to. So I used the FPS Freek for Halo, played some Call of Duty, and I found that it didn't really help my gaming at all. But it is all personal preference. Like, it comes down to whether or not you find holding the controller like this more comfortable, or if you find it using the joystick extensions more comfortable. I mean, I'm not the only one who's used this around the office. In fact, my buddy Phil here has actually used it as well, and he actually enjoys these a lot, so I toss it over to him.
I have average sized thumbs, I would say, but I enjoy the bulkier feel with the FPS Freeks. And like Brett said, they haven't really changed my game much, but at home I have these on all the time, and they're pretty great. It is kind of a problem when one of them falls off. That can be really disorienting and ruin the whole like mojo of a game, but generally when they're on, they feel good to me, and yeah, I like them. I think they're cool. I prefer to game with them, so that's something, right?
And while I didn't love the FPS Freek, I did like the Speed Freek a lot. It felt a lot more comfortable when I was playing racing games, so let's take a look at these. It's curved like a U, so your thumb kind of sits right inside, and you can just push lightly against the sides. It gives you a little more precision with the driving games. And I liked it a lot because a lot of times when I'm playing racing games, I find myself pushing on the side of the stick just to like get that little very precise movement, pushing on the edges like that. But with the Speed Freek, I could just push against the walls of the Speed Freek like that. A lot more comfortable. You don't have to push down on the stick to keep your thumb on. You can just push against the side very lightly. This one doesn't raise the height of the joystick, so you don't get a wider range of motion, but with the same range of motion you have a lot more control over the stick.
KontrolFreek's FPS Freek and Speed Freek are unique accessories aimed at giving you an edge in your gaming. The science is present and it does what it's supposed to, but will it improve your gaming? It all depends on whether or not you find it comfortable. While I didn't find the FPS Freek too helpful, the Speed Freek felt much more comfortable than the standard joysticks when playing a racing game. But again, it all comes down to personal preference. Starting at around $10, the low price won't set back any gamer curious to see if it'll improve their kill to death ratio. If you're interested, I definitely say give them a try. They're available directly from KontrolFreek at KontrolFreek.com.
Average size thumbs. Maybe a little bigger than Brett's, but probably not bigger than yours. Yeah, he's got tiny hands.